Wednesday, or some people know, or have started to call it Humping Badger Wednesday.
No, they haven't.
Yeah, they have.
They have not called it
thing
that.
now. Everybody's calling it that. That's just social. It's all over social media right now, actually. Did y'all see the Joker 2 trailer?
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix?
I did see it.
Interested.
Isn't it just like
Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn?
I don't think I've seen the full trailer, no. I just saw what was on Twitter when he was just laughing in the same place.
Wait, is that who she is? Is that the character she is Lady Gaga's playing?
I mean, I think it's Harley
Lady
Quinn.
Gaga's in the?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I would think it has to be Harley Quinn. Blonde hair, they're in love. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But
let's make it more about the Joker and less about Harley Quinn and all these other people. Let Joaquin do his thing.
Oh, they'll let.
How did y'all like Suicide Squad?
I was just about to ask, what's that?
Terrible.
About? Is it bad?
Terrible.
With Margot Robbie in there?
Every second of it's garbage. Garbage. Like, I've literally watched my garbage man come outside and, hey, Blaine, he's like, what's up? He's like, God, Suicide Squad sucks. Drove away.
What about the new Penguin? Are you going to watch that?
That's
Colin Farrell.
I'm definitely going to watch that. Yeah. I think he was the one, and again, chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Colin Farrell was the one in the Robert Pattinson detective Batman movie that came out, which I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of. I just can't. I don't know. It's hard for me to take that guy seriously after Twilight.
Yeah, it's just
Batman.
like there's certain things like roles you do that like they just can't let you do Batman.
Like I don't think you could let the dude who played Harry Potter
like
be Batman.
Jake Gyllenhaal can never be Batman.
You don't think so?
Because of Brokeback?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody could pull it off though.
I just don't know. It's like dog.
I just don't understand why Eric Bana,
you were kissing cowboys a couple weeks ago. Now you're fighting crime.
But you're fine with him to be the remake for
Roadhouse?
Who cares? I care.
I don't.
Yeah.
I do not.
Yeah, Batman.
Roadhouse.
But it's not, I'm not talking about like he was acting a role. You were excited to see it because of him. You're like, I'll see anything with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I wonder if
I'll see.
We're gonna kiss.
Yeah, just not as Jake Gyllenhaal being Batman. I can't get, that meme out of my head of him and Heath hugging each other.
Yeah,
like, hey,
so you did watch. So you did watch.
I want him to arrest the Joker, not kiss him.
It didn't ruin it for me because
I want to arrest the Joker, not kiss him.
But I didn't watch it, so it doesn't ruin it for me. I guess you watched it.
I didn't. I just saw the meme.
That's a great place to start it. The search for Kentucky's next basketball coach could be winding down today. We'll update. Tiger Woods has a new strategy to get ready for this year's Masters, and the NAIA rules that men cannot compete in women's sports because their brains work. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane & Company. Kentucky is the mecca of college basketball. There's no denying that. Some other people are in the race, but I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. And they should have the pick of the litter when it comes to filling their coaching vacancy. And with the names that we already see circulating, they will. It's looking like Scott Drew may be the guy, but until they announce it, we're going to keep talking about it. The scariest part about Calipari leaving Kentucky is that the next coach may actually get the Wildcats to reach their full potential, which in itself should scare every other basketball program in the country. We know they can get hotter than anybody once they get cooking. And yes, that does include back-to-back national champion UConn. Now, Lexington has every resource available to build a juggernaut and more. But the next coach needs to have one attribute above all others. It's probably not the one you thought. It's malleability, even when at the top. Because after all, that's what got Calipari. He brought Kentucky to the mountaintop, but as the game changed, he did not. He kept using the old recipe to try and keep up with a modern menu. Now, we saw Nick Saban complain about the changes in college football with hurry up, no huddle, and some others, but eventually he decided to not only embrace it, but become the best at it. See, success is a moving target, and those that are stagnant don't advance. Even when you reach the highest point, you have to have the humility to adjust. Now, it's not about changing toughness, identity, or culture, but more about embracing the changes that surround those things. Now, Kentucky will always have a massive advantage, regardless of how much the game shifts or changes. But if the new coach isn't willing to reinvent their thinking somewhat as the game evolves, the Wildcats will not make the progress that Big Blue Nation expects and, quite frankly, deserves. I'm going to bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. And look, you can have every single advantage there is out there. And we've heard the name Dan Hurley. It looks like Scott Drew's probably going to get it. Billy Donovan, not so much. We've heard Bruce Pearl, blah, 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 blah. We know Kentucky's a hot spot. But just because you're at the top place doesn't mean you can't evolve. We always say if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. I just think it's a big part.
Well, I have the odds right here in front of me. You're correct. Scott Drew is still the favorite in terms of the betting odds. He's plus 160 right now. And, I mean, he led Baylor to a national championship. I think that'd be a great hire for Kentucky. Billy Donovan with the Chicago Bulls, who was the last coach to win back-to-back championships at Florida, is still plus 200, even though I believe he said he came out and said, I'm committed to the Bulls and I'm not going anywhere, but he's still second right now. Dan Hurley, I believe, said pretty much the same thing. He's plus 350. After that, it goes to Mark Pope. BYU is plus 1,000. No, Rick Pitino and Richard Pitino both going off at plus 2,000. Then you get into Sean Miller at Xavier plus 2,000, and then Chris Beard at Ole Miss plus 2,000.
I don't think it's.
I always think when coaches come out and like, I'm committed to what I'm saying. I always think of the White Goodman dodgeball situation when they're in the hotel room and Vince Vaughn's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's like, I don't know if you've seen what $50,000 in cash looks like. Maybe only in the movies.
Yeah.
He opens up the briefcase. I mean, look, if you're Kentucky and you don't get, I mean, what, you're on your third? Your third
see,
target right now?
No, we don't know that.
We
don't know that. Like, Nate Oates came out and turned down the job, but he didn't get offered the job. Like it's one thing for a coach to come out and say, hey, I'm committed. You got to get offered the job. Like, they're still talking with Dan Hurley. I don't believe this. They've been turned down. 3 coaches ain't turning Kentucky basketball down. And it ain't $50,000 in a briefcase. It's $8.5 million a year. And actually, they said Dan Hurley, they're offering him $11 million. A 5 to 7 year deal for $11 million. That's 3 guys ain't turning that down, bud. I can go ahead and
call cap?
Yes, I call cap.
You call cap that 3 guys have turned down a Kentucky job. How in the hell do you know that?
How do you know they didn't?
Because you would have found out. Guys come out early.
Right here.
Well, I'm going to do what I want. Guys can come out early and sit here and say, I'm not going to take the job. Nate Oates just signed an extension with a buyout at $18 million. He put out a little graphic that said, I'm committed to the University of Alabama. That doesn't mean he's gotten offered the job. Dan Hurley came out and said, well, you can ask my wife. She'll probably tell you she doesn't want to leave. That doesn't mean he's got offered the job and turned it down. Well, I watched Nick Saban come out and tell everybody in the world, I'm not going to be the next head coach at Alabama, and then take the job. It's not like they offered him, he turned it down, and then he decided to accept it. I don't think they've offered it to anybody but one person, and I think that's Scott Drew, but Jack Pilgrim from KSR, who, if anybody knows, it's him and Matt Jones.
Does it count as offering if you call their agents and say, hey, I'm not offering your client the job, but are they interested? Because here's how much money I would pay them to do the job if they are. We just saw this when Nick Saban retired.
Exactly.
Right? Steve Sarkisian.
Didn't get offered.
Mike Norvell. No official
Didn't
offers,
get offered.
but they put out the little squares.
Well, it's inquiring, right? If you inquire about
you have to do this.
interest, you have to. That's part of it. But that doesn't mean you offer the job. Like, I guarantee you, Dan Hurley maybe. But Dan Hurley hadn't technically turned it down. All he said was, ask my wife. I don't know if she wants to move. That's a non-answer if I've ever seen one.
What did he say? I'm trying to build a dynasty here.
Yeah.
Well, what you've already done counts to me.
That's exactly right.
So,
it's only downhill from here. But Scott Drew, I think it'd be a really good hire. I mean, Scott Drew's come out before and talked about how committed he is to Baylor. But when I look at Scott Drew from a coaching standpoint, adjustments, all the things that I feel like Kentucky lacked with Calipari, not that Calipari doesn't know basketball, but again, he wouldn't evolve, he wouldn't adjust, he didn't try and change and mix it up. I think Scott Drew's willing to do that, and you talk about a basketball family. I mean, you look at his father, you look at his brother, Bryce Drew, who's been, played at Valpo, had that big moment in the NCAA tournaments, coached at multiple places, including Vanderbilt. I mean, is Kentucky basketball the Alabama football job? I mean, is that probably the best comparison?
Probably. Even though Nick Saban had just had so much success that John Calipari has not had. So the ending of the tenure here is a little bit
they're not.
No, just brand-wise.
Yeah,
like, would you say
yeah.
Kentucky, like you got Duke and then North Carolina. To me, I still think Kentucky is at the top of the totem pole.
I think those top four, like Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas.
Yeah.
I really think of, which is wild because when we went to the Final Four, who'd we see? North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, and Villanova.
Yeah, which
that
says
was crazy.
Blue Blood City.
Another thing about Scott Drew, I didn't realize he had been at Baylor for over 20 seasons.
Yeah.
Been there a long
That's
time.
a long time, man.
How many? And he's won what? One natty? I know.
Yep.
He's won one. I'm trying to remember how many Final Fours
They beat Gonzaga
that they've
that
been
year.
to. But even if you look at Baylor, like they've kind of gone from a team that's like overtly physical. Not that they were soft this past year, but it was more kind of guard play, shooting threes, high octane offense. The defense wasn't, what it used to be. But we want to know what you think. We got Jack Pilgrim, like I said, from Kentucky Sports Radio. Excited to bring him on. First time we've had guys from that On3 chapter there. But before we get there, I want to let you guys know, and the Booster Club, obviously. I want to let you guys know this is probably one, out of our new sponsors, we all love everybody the same, but this one's kind of near and dear to our heart. If you're an animal lover, you're going to feel me on this. Canine Salute. All right, Canine Salute is a veteran-founded company dedicated to providing healthy treats for dogs to honor and remember our nation's canine heroes who serve in all capacities of the military, law enforcement, fire, search and rescue, as well as the many service dogs that assist people in daily life. This helps out the dogs that help us out. They create wholesome, high-quality protein treats with no harmful fillers or ingredients. And by choosing Canine Salute, you're not just treating your dog to a healthy snack. A portion of all treat proceeds go towards providing protective vests for police canines nationwide. Again, obviously y'all know I'm an animal lover. We all, have animals. Blaine, I'm sure will get a dog at some point, but I know he comes over to my house and loves on.
I have two dogs. They're in Tupelo, Mississippi.
That is true. That is true.
You're Penny Lane's godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's a fantastic idea, number one, and something I know, with Penny Lane and you look at, you see the videos of the canines retiring, and I mean these dogs are fearless, man.
It's awesome.
So it's a great way to help. So our amazing dogs love us every day, like I said, and they serve our community. So let's love and honor them with a healthy Canine Salute treat. Right now, you can get 15% off your order at caninesalute.com with promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER. That's caninesalute.com with promo code BOOSTER for 15% off your order. All right. Speaking of Booster, let's get to the club.
All right, Chad, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you donate. It's on topic. It will get read. We're going to start off with Browns and Beers.
Browns and Beers?
As a WVU fan, I really don't get why Scott Drew is as low on Kentucky's list as others. Man has built a program that was nothing into a national contender, and I think he'd be a great get for Kentucky.
Well, doesn't it just feel like he's solid? Because, look, recruiting-wise, and Calipari, I think that was one of his, best attributes is his ability to recruit. But Kentucky recruits itself. I mean, obviously you want a guy in there, and Scott Drew, I think, is a good recruiter, but bringing in the type player that you need to win in today's game, it's not the one and done. It's not the bring in the four freshmen that go in there and figure it out halfway through the year, but then have one bad game against some insurance salesman that plays at Oakland that hits 13 threes. You feel like you need that mixture of that talent that Kentucky can get that's young, but also old, cultivated, developed talent that doesn't get too high, that doesn't get too low. Man, I feel like Scott Drew is just solid, man. Like he would take the job and run with it, but I feel like he could put them in a better position consistently. And not saying that you're going to put as many guys in the NBA. They'll put a bunch of guys in the NBA, but that's not the sole focus.
No, who cares?
Yeah.
Win championships. And I just wonder how much longer programs will continue to recruit themselves in the era of name, image, and likeness. This is an opportunity for schools to come along with big donors and say, hey, I think that's what Arkansas is doing here. Arkansas is getting John Calipari to say, look, let's put $5 million in the NIL fund. Let's let John Calipari go and recruit the same kids who were going to say yes to Kentucky 10 years ago or 8 years ago because it's such a great brand. Now let's let them say yes to John Calipari because they're going to get paid the money, and he has proven to be a coach who can put them in the NBA. And let's just see if Arkansas can have some sort of like national success.
Well, do you too think that he's going to now use the guys that you look at? DeMarcus Cousins came out yesterday. He said they're going to get everybody now at Arkansas. Like, it's not like these guys at Kentucky, I mean, Devin Booker and all these cats, like they're with Cal. Like, Cal got them the bag. So their loyalty, it seems to me, is to Calipari, not Kentucky. So how many of these got John Wall? I mean, I can go down the list. Anthony Davis. say what you want, and I've been very critical of Calipari, but good God Almighty, has he put some cats in the league that are like
So I wonder,
headline guys.
If Kentucky were to play Arkansas for the national championship or a Final Four, even the SEC championship, I wonder who those guys pull for then.
I bet they pull for Cal. I bet they pull for Cal.
And see, that's interesting. That's another aspect of like the one and done mentality. A lot of names you just mentioned were there one and done. They're on Kentucky's campus for like 6 months sometimes.
They had a longer
4
relationship with Calipari than they were on the campus at Kentucky.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he got them the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, well, help them. I want to make sure and give them credit and their parents for
But not at school. Because no one was paying players before they went to the NBA.
It's like Zion.
We ain't doing that around here, Dave.
Yeah. We don't do
Roll
no
Tide Willie shouldn't have paid them players, man. They've done wrong by doing that.
I can't see anything out of these things.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to a $10 donation from Knowles. Never forget. Y'all, you better never forget either.
No, I would never forget.
How do you see the ACC dissolving impacting college basketball?
Well, see, this is the peripheral part of not just conferences disappearing, but the conference realignment. Now, we because it affects everything, right? Now, we've seen, like Syracuse and some of these other places be in one conference in basketball and one conference in football. Like the splitting of the Group of Five and the Power Five in football, I think is going to be its own thing. But if the ACC truly does dissolve, which I think it's going to eventually, if you believe in this Super League or these two super conferences playing each other, you almost have to believe that because they're not going to be the last one standing at the dance. I just wonder if the ACC falls, like the Pac-12, right? All those teams just basically went somewhere else outside of Oregon State and Washington State. So I would guess the same thing would happen in basketball. But if you look at the teams, some teams that are really good at basketball are not good in football. Like you have some that are, where there's that parallel. But do you split up and say, all right, well, I guess the football team at Duke will go here, but the basketball team will go here. That's one of the most fascinating parts about this. It's a guess right now, but I think there's two ways to chop it. It's just which ways are they going to do it? Which one makes the most money? Duke basketball makes more money than Duke football, I would think.
Yeah, so
right?
if they were to go to the Big East, but football goes to the SEC, how does that affect the money that's
well, yeah, but and there's no Big East in football anymore. So are you really? That's David. I mean, that makes sense.
But remember, with the Pac-12, there was this perfect window for everyone to exit.
Yeah,
there was no new TV deal in place. With the ACC, you're locked in until 2036 unless one of these lawsuits go through, which I saw the ACC had a win the other day against Florida State.
They did, and then I saw yesterday, and I think TJ Pittenger sent this to me. Everybody needs to go follow him if you're a Florida State fan. Speaking about Knowles, don't forget. I know he doesn't forget. I think there was kind of like a little bit of a clapback where it was ruled that it's not just a state of North Carolina rule where the ACC is trying to get it done. It affects different states. But I don't know if that was one of the lawyers on behalf of Florida State or Clemson that put that into the record, or if that was some sort of judgment. So it's just going to ping pong back and forth. It's fascinating. It's a great question.
Let's go to Ruka 617. Is there any buzz for Brad Stevens to Kentucky?
I saw that name in the odds, but I don't think so. That one, you remember he was the coach.
Is he still with the Celtics front office?
Because he went from, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember where he went from.
He was at
Butler. Butler
to the
Celtics. I saw his name on some odds. It's
okay. So he's president of basketball operations for the Celtics right now.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. He's been out of the college game for a while. You talking about the game evolving while you haven't been in there. Not that he wouldn't do a good job, but no, I would doubt if Brad Stevens got it.
Let's go to SP. Why do people think Cal will kill it at Arkansas when he hasn't done anything the last 5 years?
Listen, it's a valid argument. That's, but if you're Arkansas and what happened where Musselman leaves, when you look at the crop of coaches that are out there, because we say this about the transfer portal all the time, you can only get what the market bears. Like you can't create a coach to go out there and get, right? So if you look at the coaches that are available, Calipari, from a experience standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, from a knowing the lay of the land in the SEC standpoint, I think it was a pretty good hire. One of the reasons I think people are fired up about Calipari is it almost feels like There was some pettiness with him. You may get a fired up Calipari. You may get a Calipari that understands, maybe I do need to adjust. And you've heard him talk about that. After they lost to Oakland, you heard him talk about the way they go about things and developing young players. Is this going to push him to the point where he's like, hey, I've got to kind of get my swag back a little bit. If I've got to mix it up, if I've got to be a little bit pissed off, maybe this is kind of a rejuvenation or a new paint job for Coach Cal. That's why I think some people are. But, I mean, look, Musselman went to 2 Elite Eights and a Sweet 16 3 out of the last 4 years. Cal made it out of what, past the Sweet 16 the last 5 years?
Yeah, you can't even make it out of the driveway.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Getting to school, we can't even get out of the driveway.
Y'all can't even lose to Oakland from California. Y'all got to lose to Oakland from Rochester, Michigan, which I didn't even know existed.
Let's go to Woo Pig 615. He says, is it wrong for me to expect a natty right away? Some guys want 2 to 3 years, but I want it now. He wants his money now.
Look, with what y'all are paying him, I need it. I need it now. You need that first year right off the bat. Hey man, we're cooking. Like Cal's cooking, which I think you'll see that momentum in recruiting. I'm interested to see what they do in the transfer portal. I'm interested to see if any players from Arkansas who've hopped in the transfer portal now go back to Arkansas if Cal even wants them. No, when you're making that type of money and you're dealing with that size of a roster and you're able to turn over that quickly, I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation to say, hey, we need to make a run in the NCAA tournament. I don't think that's unrealistic at all. But speaking of unrealistic, let's get to some Tiger Woods here.
All right, boys, this Masters week, Tiger Woods apparently has a new strategy to prepare for tournaments. Now, a friend of his says Tiger is abstaining from sex to prepare for the Masters. He does that now. No sex until the tournament is over. He doesn't want to take away his focus. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, what's a good 3.5 minutes of focus taken away? I know, I wish, right?
That's a long time.
Yeah. I always, guys go about things differently. Like we talk about superstitions. Some guys wear the same socks. Some guys, do other stuff. This to me is, what if he wins? What if that was the trick?
Oh, it's
just don't do it.
I don't think that's it. I'm pretty sure he was having sex when he went on.
No, that's the funny part about all of this. When he was womanizing, he was at the top of his game.
It's kind of a fact. It's a sad fact.
So, like, what if he goes and plays the worst round? Like, what if he shoots like 102?
Tiger, stop trying to be the good guy.
Yeah.
It's not you.
I like Tiger as the good guy.
I know you don't.
I do.
No, you
do?
No, you don't, David.
I do.
No, you don't. You want to see a scandal.
No.
You want, look,
I don't
only
want
thing I know is
wrecks.
this. If I would have saw a Tiger Woods scandal this week, I'd have got all my money and put it on him to win the
Maybe we should ask the Honorable Judge Walsh about this.
Yeah.
We should ask him about this.
We should.
I
don't want to see Tiger wrapping his car around a tree and can't walk for a year.
There's levels to it. I understand that. I don't want anybody harmed. All right, but I wouldn't mind seeing some pictures of Tiger at a strip club. Throw a little more cash.
Wings, Magic City.
Throw a little more cash on them. I don't want to see him shaking hands with the Pope. That's not you, Tiger. All right? We do bad stuff off the course, then we go on and we're money with a 9-iron.
We grip it and rip
the whole day. Tiger,
it.
this isn't you. You're the villain. You're the bad guy. All right? That's who you are. You're not goody two-shoes. You're not selling Girl Scout cookies. All right? We're ding-dong ditching. We're garage hopping.
No.
All right? We're taking beers out of people's coolers.
Tiger Woods is a billionaire.
Not ding-dong ditching.
I'm just saying, all right? Bad stuff. When you're bad, things are good.
That's in his past. No sex this week.
None.
What is all off limits?
Yeah, I need to see the rule book.
Yeah, what's
like,
all
is
off
it,
limits?
listen, hey.
Because a lot of things get you to the same place as sex does.
It's about his focus. We're focused. Sex ban.
Was he having sex during the last time he won the Masters?
I didn't ask him.
Yeah, like every
I didn't
3
ask
holes.
him last time I talked to him. I'm sorry.
They had to ride around on a golf cart and he just disappeared for 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
They come out and stroke a 7-iron.
Nice.
All right, let's move on. Let's get the clip. Do we have the clip by chance of Lynette Woodard not recognizing Caitlin Clark as a scorer?
Oh yeah, I saw this. I find this interesting. Yeah, let's play this.
I am the hidden figure, but no longer now. My record was hidden from everyone for 43 years. 43 years. I don't think, I'll just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I don't think my record has been broken because you can't duplicate what you're not duplicating. And so unless you come with a men's basketball and a 2-point shot, hey, you know.
All right, so she's talking about there's a 3-pointer now.
Yeah. Well, this is what we talked about with Pete Maravich,
Yeah.
right? And I actually agree with her. Now, do I think that's something that you probably need to come out and like say in like that forum when you're trying to like make women's sports as popular as possible? I mean, I don't think it's the best idea, but I'm never going to get upset at somebody for saying what they really think. I feel like she really believes that. And this is why I don't like comparing eras and records. Like it's a different game. Like if you look at the numbers Pete Maravich would have had if they had a 3-pointer, it's insane. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I've got to treat the home run record the same when guys are playing on 250-foot fences as opposed to 420 feet out in center field. I feel like when there is a drastic rule change or the game changes so much that it changes the way you have to play the game, then we need to separate those records. I actually 100% agree with her methodology and the way she's thinking. How can you compare them? Like they're apples and oranges to me.
True, yeah, and I mean she can always be the record scorer for when they didn't have a 3-point line or whatever. But Caitlin Clark's the all-time scoring champ now, and that's just the way it's going to be. And she broke everyone's record. If it makes you feel any better, she broke not just yours, she was breaking everyone's record. The one thing that was interesting when we talked about the Pete Maravich was the extra COVID eligibility years.
Yeah.
Because some of the guys were getting close because they were playing 6 seasons to be able to break a record he had in 3 years. That, to me, is another thing that's a part of the conversation. Like,
I agree with
you're playing
that.
twice as many years twice as long as your tenure in college. That's wild.
Now, like, so where I set out on that, and I think you'll agree with me here, is that it needs to go through 4-year spans, right? Nothing above, but you can count below. If you played 3 years and then went pro, you could have played that 4th year and you opted not to do it. So it should still go into the book. It shouldn't count against somebody, in my opinion, for playing 4 years, right? And the other person played 3. Oh, well, you can't count that. This was like a world war or something, and you couldn't have played the 4th year. I agree with that. I saw the backlash on this, and I think it was more toward, you see all these people within the sport, like especially former UConn players, just tearing in to Caitlin Clark. Like I thought everybody was in this together. Y'all were trying to lift every voice. Lift them up and sing their praises now. Women's basketball and sports and stuff.
Women being jealous, who would have thought? Not me. Candace Parker. What's the other one from you?
Breanna
Stewart. Tarazi.
What were they saying?
They're all just clowning on Caitlin Clark. And I don't understand why.
Better than them?
They're just jelly. Little peanut butter and jelly. She's bringing more eyes to y'all's sport.
That is true.
She matters more than y'all.
She does.
Candace Parker, she matters more than you. And when it comes to women's basketball, there's never been more eyes than on women's basketball than there is now. And there's one reason and one reason only.
And I don't think those eyeballs will translate to the WNBA.
I don't think so either.
For the first month, people will be interested to watch Caitlin Clark in the WNBA or something, but they don't want to see they don't want to watch the WNBA product. It's not about women. That's the thing.
I could not agree with you. I was talking about this yesterday with Trey Wallace from Outkick, which he's dropping that either today or tomorrow. But I don't think it's just a WNBA problem. I think it's an NBA problem too.
Yeah.
I think they're so overtly political and they've alienated so many people, and the product's just bad, if we're going to be honest, in the regular season, that it's not going to translate to the WNBA. That's why, like, the best thing Caitlin Clark could do for women's sports is to stay another year at Iowa.
True.
Like, I think, like you said, they may watch the first 3 games to see if she can score at the rate she scored in college.
And then turn it off.
And then turn it off. I think if it has the letters NBA at the end of it, it is not going to translate the exact same. I could not agree with you more. But Blaine, I do want to say something to your point. Caitlin Clark is the most important women's player that I can remember. I agree with that. But I think one of the other things that is boosting up what we saw from the ratings, and if you look at the numbers, and we'll get into why here in a minute, the women had like 18.4 million people watch the national championship game. The men had 14.2 million. There's a reason for that. We'll get into that in a second. But I think now there's just more teams that are good and there's more high-level players at the same time. For example, and me and you are the age difference is 4.5 years, 5 years. You may feel me more on this. When I grew up, it was just UConn and then Tennessee when it was Pat Summitt and Gino Auriemma. Then Pat Summitt, obviously, rest in peace, what happened to her. UConn was just killing everybody. Just killing everybody. Nobody could get close to UConn. And you look at all the players that they had back to back to back. Now you've got UConn still good with Gino Auriemma, Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark in Iowa doing what they're doing, Dawn Staley in South Carolina doing what they're doing, Juju Watkins and USC. It just seems like there's more teams that are competitive, and it's not just watching one team beat the hell out of every single team they play. Breanna Stewart won 4 national championships in a row, right? UConn was rolling there was no resistance, none at all. Now you've actually got Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark versus Cardozo in South Carolina, Cardozo in South Carolina versus Juju Watkins in USC. I think there's a little bit more, and it makes it more competitive.
Parity always helps, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's true. I just think it's.
But Caitlin Clark is the
Caitlin Clark. I think even during the Tennessee era, the UConn era, whenever no one cared. Nobody watched that. If Caitlin Clark wasn't playing, nobody would be talking about these other people. Nobody would care.
I don't know. If you look at the South Carolina, who was it? South Carolina UConn that played moving screen where people got pissed off.
No, that was Iowa.
That was Iowa. You had USC and I forgot exactly who was in the Final Four, but and may go to your point. I do think there were some eyes on some other games that were pretty intriguing to me, at least.
All right, talking about the men's game, let's look at this dunk from Purdue the other day. We watched this on our live stream, but we have to react to this. Do we have that dunk?
You talking about Heidi when he came in and had the dunk, and then we're like, then he didn't show up for like 20 minutes later. Let's see.
Let's see what clip it is.
Yeah, we'll call it out like a Dana Perino. I love it.
Anyway, until we get to that, let's go to the Ellie De La Cruz home run. Do we have that one?
The inside the Parker?
Yeah, that's clip 10.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Absolute bomb. First pitch, center field. Grealick was deep.
Dude, you might as well not.
He slides.
I respect it. I respect it from center.
Churio gathers into the track. Windmill is on. Relay to the plate. De La Cruz.
He should have to run. He should literally have to run 5 bases.
14.96 seconds from home to home.
That's incredible, dude. So like 14. So you're running. So if it took you 5 seconds to get to first, 5, 10, 15, 20. It took you 3 seconds to get to first. 3, 6, 9, 12. Dog, you're getting to each base in like 4 seconds, which is
he's like he's tall, 6'4".
Yeah,
6'5".
No, that ain't no little
striding
Jose Altuve sneaking
I mean,
around.
and first of all, that swing just absolutely perfection. This is talking about staying in. That's how you know he's trying to go where? Up the middle.
Yeah,
up the middle. All right, you try to go up the middle, you square one up, you hit it out. If you don't square it up, little gapper.
Are you diving for that ball? If you know Ellie De La Cruz,
well, like
that was catchable though.
Yeah, the thing about me when it comes to outfield, if you're gonna go for it, go for it. All right, if you're gonna dive, commit. You can't be 20 yards away from it, obviously, but if you're gonna dive, commit. Don't stumble your way in there and then panic. If you're gonna hit the gas pedal, scream America, I'm all for it. All right, that's an effort thing. I'm fine with that. That's just tough.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more here. Is this the toughest way to strike out? This is clip 9. Play this.
Barber, but it's simple. I mean, if you swing at a ball, and I think he thinks he hit it, Mike.
No.
Oh. Look,
Yeah.
I've been there. I missed a pitch that hit me square in the chest.
There's only
Really?
one way where it's worse. And it's what Tiger's not using.
You know what we call that? Swinging before we see where the ball is.
Yeah, well,
You knew you were going to swing at this pitch, no matter where it is. All right, before the ball even left the pitcher's hand. We've all been there.
look.
You know how fast he's throwing that?
Yeah, not slow.
Yeah, well, he's also throwing it as a submarine. I mean, that guy was not just submarine. I mean, he was throwing it from underneath the earth.
From Hades.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I've been why don't we see more knuckleball pitchers anymore?
It's not an
we have
easy
one
pitch to
guy.
throw.
I think
Tim Wakefield.
Moreland or somebody who throws a knuckleball is pretty nice. But back in the day, you had 3 or 4 guys in the league
Yeah.
that would just come in and just duck knuckleball curves.
Well, it's
Just
hard,
knuckleballs
man.
over the plate, and you don't see that anymore. And I know it's just all about power and how hard can you throw, and do you throw a sinker or a slider? But there's nothing like watching Timmy Wakefield get up there and just. Even the catchers don't know.
Well, it was fun watching Tim Wakefield because he'd throw a knuckleball up there and then he'd throw a fastball that was like 86.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it looked like it was
105
after the knuckleball. See,
It's
that's
just, I just miss seeing the guys who throw knuckleballs
Yeah.
because it's so hard to do.
All right, last reaction here. Blaine, this is what you've always wanted. All right, this is what it's going to look like when robots take over
no.
and they're beating us at every single.
what part of Japan is this?
Look,
Play this.
No.
Robot badminton.
Is that really a robot? Is that real?
I've heard that it's fake and that it's edited in. You can
look,
see, like,
that's
the shadow down
100%
there.
fake, but is it though?
But that's a preview of what's coming. If
Is
Blaine
it,
gets his way,
well,
Well,
look,
like-
I don't want it to be I don't want to be badminton. You know,
they got to start somewhere.
I want something. I'm telling you, it's real steel, guys. That's where we're heading. That's where
Robots fighting robots.
You can hate on it all you want. I don't want it. But look, that's where we're going.
No, you do.
Transformers playing football and famous streamers, all right, are people who play video games on a high levels like Ready Player One are going to like hold
You
and
want
use
this so bad.
the robots. There are going to be no more athletes.
They needed to go touch grass.
Player safety, Dave.
Okay, touch grass.
Player safety. You know what's safe? Playing it through your TV.
Yeah,
with a huge
and
robot.
getting fat with a tube around your
Oh,
head
we're
right there.
we're already
just having the food just pumped into you. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
when you pulled this up at first, I thought that was C-3PO. Like, looks
yeah,
just like
C-3PO. Play a
C-3PO.
little badminton.
But look, would I get upset if you're like, hey, Jake, oh man, it's 2:30 on a Thursday. Games don't start till 5:30. You want to go watch robots play badminton against each other?
You won't
yeah.
even watch Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer play tennis in your backyard. And
You know
you're
who's
gonna
going to
watch
be
robots.
better in those? Robots.
Yeah. You know, I won't watch Rafael Nadal play in my backyard, but you know who I will watch?
C-3PO?
Yeah, RF269D11.
You want to watch
7.
Optimus Prime on a Saturday night go against the Decepticons with a
Yeah.
6.5 point spread? I do.
Rise of the Beast.
Autobots.
I'd watch it.
Play 3.
All right, we're going to get to the Booster Club in a second. But if you want to treat your body like a robot and have it in the best shape possible, I'm talking about real steel abs, feeling really good, our friends over at FitBod, they can help you out. Because look, I mean, we're already in what? It's April? Your New Year's resolutions are gone. All right, you blew those a while ago. Some of you may have stuck to it, you know, maybe 3 of you guys. But if you want to mix up the routine, because a lot of people stop because they get bored, are the results plateau because they don't mix it up. They don't keep the body guessing. They're not Percocizing. Shout out Tony Perkis. FitBod, they create a personalized workout based on your goals, abilities, and gym setup while helping you track and visualize your progress along the way. And then it learns from your previous workouts. Basically a robot, dog. I'm going to be honest. All right. It helps you learn new movements right away with over 1,400 HD demonstration videos. Plus, a full year of FitBod is less than the cost of a single session with a personal trainer. So, add FitBod to your workout essentials today. Join FitBod, like I said, to get your personalized workout plan. You get 25% off your subscription, or you can try the app for free at fitbod.me/booster. All right, I'm going to spell it out for you. It's FITBOD.me/booster. Fitbod.me/booster. Don't just have a bod, have a FitBod.
You know me.
Booster Club. You know me.
Let's go to CJ. CJ, what is up? Says Pat Summitt was absolutely incredible.
Yep.
I watched women's college ball since the 80s. Well, you and 12 other people did. Congratulations. Congrats.
Sorry, I was Justine was talking to me. I didn't hear.
Oh, he said Pat Summitt was absolutely incredible. I've been watching women's basketball.
Yeah,
since
Pat
the
was.
1980s.
I think Pat was one of the few women's coaches that could have coached men's. I really think she could have and done well. I really believe
Great.
that.
All right, let's go to Hold Me Cox. Championships don't determine the greatness of a player. Championships are team awards. Don't get why this is hard to understand. Clark is the GOAT of women's college basketball.
See, this is where I agree with you that a championship is a team award. You're not going to hear me argue with that. But I think if we're going to have the conversation about the greatest player of all time, the singular greatest player of all time, I do think championships matter. I think it can be the deciding factor. Look at LeBron and Michael Jordan. Look at Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. Not saying that you have to win a championship to be great. That's not what I'm saying. Or one of the greatest. But to me, to be the greatest of all time, the tippy top, the golden shining peak of the pyramid, championships matter. I think.
So do you think who's the greatest running back of all time? You would take Emmitt Smith then? Yeah, I'll take Barry Sanders.
I would probably, if I'm saying greatest of all time, I would say Emmitt Smith is up there. Terrell Davis to me, I think, is up there as well. Again, I just think it's a way to parse once you get to the splitting of the hairs of, because I mean, if not, then I mean, dang, like how, it's tough. It's a good conversation. I don't think that's wrong. I think there's logical arguments on both sides of it.
All right, let's go to Mr. Red. He says, do you think De La Cruz right now is the most exciting player in Major League Baseball?
Well, since Shohei's not pitching this year, I guess you can make that argument. When Shohei's pitching and hitting, I think it's got to be Shohei Ohtani. But from a five-tool standpoint, I mean, let's be honest. Who's out here doing all that? Or that can do all that? I don't know.
Let's go to Don Johnson. He says, fellas, would I be crazy to put my money down on Tiger Woods this week during the Masters? And don't forget, today is the Masters Par 3 course rolling through today.
I wonder what the odds are.
For Tiger?
Yeah.
I had him pulled up.
I know what the odds are in him abstaining.
First of all, you can get Scotty Scheffler. You can get 2 chances to win with like Scotty and Rory at plus 300, Scotty and Xander Schauffele at plus 350. Like those are some fun bets if you go to Bet Online.
I saw a couple good bets at top 20 finishes.
Yeah.
God, I can't remember the one guy, long hair, mustache. He went to the Live. He's had multiple top 15 finishes. He's plus 120. I'll remember that name here in a little bit. I'll look it up. But there's a couple good bets in there that I would look that I really think you can win some money on.
Tiger's plus 12,500 right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you put, Blaine, plus 12,500, if you put $10 on that, you'd win what? Like not 120.
A little less than that. I think you'd be in the 800, 900 range, correct?
Yeah. So
you talking about Cam Smith?
Cam Smith. Okay.
Batia, the guy who won the Travelers in the playoff, he had to win that to get in the Masters. I wonder what his odds are. I know he had that shoulder injury. But it's going to be interesting to watch. We should be getting Jack Pilgrim from KSR on here in a minute, unless something goes wrong. But before we do that, David, it's Wednesday.
Yes!
And
Wednesday.
Come on, Dave!
And before you get into your incredible Get Off My Lawn, I do want to let everybody know as well that if you donate, we will read it if it's on topic. If not, we'll read it at the end. So don't get your panties in a wad unless you're Charles Dossett and then get upset.
Yeah.
All right, David, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means.
The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletes banned men from competing in women's sports, and anyone who has a problem with that needs to get off my lawn.
Dudes aren't ladies.
Not only did the NAIA rule that its 83,000 athletes across the country must be born female to compete in women's sports, but it did so with a 20-0 vote. NAIA President Jim Carr stated, "We believed our first responsibility was to create fairness. We also think it aligns with the reasons Title IX was created." Hours after the announcement, the NCAA released their own statement. College sports are the premier stage for women's sports in America, and the NCAA will continue to promote Title IX, make unprecedented investments in women's sports, and ensure fair competition for all student athletes in the NCAA championships. This is a fantastic example of action versus talk, because the words fair competition ring hollow when the same organization hands out women's trophies to men. And all of this comes days after South Carolina's national championship winning coach, Dawn Staley, defended men who consider themselves women competing in her sport. She then blocked our friend Riley Gaines on social media. We made Lady Ballers to showcase how ludicrous this entire conversation is. And hopefully our film doesn't need to become real life before Dawn Staley and the NCAA wake up to the realization that women's sports is under attack. Meaningful change is impossible so long as the biggest stars on the grandest stage remain fearful and foolish. So cheers to the NAIA. All the critics of this victory can get off my lawn.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice, David. Very, very nice.
20-0, boys.
Yeah, look, maybe this is maybe this will set the precedent for the NCAA, who, obviously it's a different organization than the NAIA. I saw, which unfortunately I see some of these people talking about and saying, oh, well, there's no men that are playing high-level women's college basketball right now, so we shouldn't even worry about it. How does the flood start, David?
Yes.
A couple raindrops, buddy. Doesn't
Lady
just all
Baller's
fall
gonna
out of the
be real
sky at
life.
once. But speaking about making it rain, the guys over at KSR on On3 are absolutely raining all over the game right now. They've got it covered. And I'm sure the traffic is rush hour level at New York City right now. Our friend Jack Pilgrim joining us. Jack, first off, thanks for hopping on, man. And I'm sure you've really had nothing to talk about here the past couple days.
Yeah, this was just, schedule is completely wide open, nothing to worry about. So, glad you guys could fill up my time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, listen, I want to start. I opened up on the show talking about, regardless of who Kentucky hires, and we know they're going to hire an upper echelon guy. I know it's looking like Scott Drew right now. At least he's the odds-on favorite. There's a lot of rumors going around. I feel like one of the most important attributes, because you're going to have resources, obviously you're going to be able to recruit and things like that, is being able to evolve and adjust as the game continues to evolve and adjust. Because I think that's what got Coach Cal at the end of the day, Jack, and call it pride, call it whatever you want. Do you feel like that's an important attribute that this next coach needs to have?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what kind of made Coach Cal so successful to start his time at Kentucky is kind of what ate him alive at the very end and sent him out. He was a guy that was made for the job, just the PR god around there, and just knew what to say, when to say it, how to say it. And fans ate it up. But when your, kind of spiel runs hollow, saying it over and over and over again after 15 years, he said when he got here, it was a 10-year job. And then for almost perfect timing, the last 5 years of his time there ended up being, some of his worst. So I think it's one of those things that you have to know how to embrace the spotlight and be, at the forefront of college basketball and so many different things. And that's what he was. But when it kind of comes down to, the second half, you got to continue to do that and find new ways to keep the messaging fresh. And that's just something that Coach Cal wasn't able to do. And that's why when he departed, he said, I just need somebody around here to have a new voice because my voice just isn't getting through anymore. There was not a trust level factor that by losing the way that he did down the stretch, he kind of lost the fan base. And I think he realized that and knew that he needed a new audience, and this fan base needed, a new voice. And I think it's a good thing for both sides that a parting of ways happened.
I agree. I mean, we talked about it as the old Michael Scott win-win-win. I mean, for Arkansas, for Kentucky, and for Coach Cal, it's kind of seemed like he lost the benefit of the doubt. But, when you look at the candidates, obviously Scott Drew's looking like he's at the top. Dan Hurley, all these other guys. We also at the top of the show, how many coaches do you think have been offered the Kentucky job? We've seen guys come out and say, I'm not leaving, but that doesn't mean I can come out here and say I'm not running for, the president in this election, but they didn't ask me to run.
It was very complicated because he kind of dragged things out a little bit unnecessarily. There was some talk of him getting cold feet and saying, well, maybe I don't love Fayetteville all that much. What if I were to try to kiss and make up with Mitch Barnhart? And it just kind of got to the point where it was like, buddy, here's the door, please. Just you've made this bed, just go lay in it. Let's just move on and do what's best for all of us involved. So that kind of delayed things for Kentucky. They weren't able to officially go through the measures of of a real coaching search at this point. So it was all back channel things. Hey, what would your interest be? What would your number look like? Some of those things. So I don't even think we've gotten to the point of tangible offers in hand to anybody yet. I think Scott Drew it's been made very clear to him that the job is his if he'd like to have it. Conversations are ongoing with Dan Hurley's people and representation saying, hey, what would it take? We know that you are the hottest name in basketball, regardless of level. What would it take? And it's going to be a Godfather offer. What does that look like to you? And I think there's a feel that the search doesn't need to extend beyond that. Talking to people around Billy Donovan, he's kind of been Kentucky's golden goose for 2 decades. They tried hiring him in 06, 09, various points when things went south with Coach Cal. His name has just always kind of come up. He's in the middle of a play-in situation, potentially going to the playoffs with the Bulls, even though it's a disaster up there right now, so they don't even necessarily love him. So I think that the timing doesn't make sense for them, and I think Kentucky's side knows that this thing really does need to extend beyond the guy that we know we love and would like to have up here in Scott Drew or kind of the pie in the sky in Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
Jack, I'd like some insight on Coach Calipari's decision. It's not as if he left Kentucky to go to the NBA or to retire or even to take a job at North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, something like that. I mean, he's staying in the same conference, leaving Kentucky after being there for 15 years. He's going to stay in the same conference. He's going to take less money, and he's going to go to a program that doesn't really have the historical pedigree that Kentucky does. Is there any scenario here where, Coach Calipari was sort of made to feel as if he was being pushed out a bit?
Yeah, I think the writing was on the wall that it was kind of my understanding after the Oakland loss, he didn't even really feel the pressure that was the fan. Like, he was put on such an island, and he put himself on this island down the stretch where the reality of just how much fans didn't want him around here never really set in with him. He was just kind of going about his day going, man, that life is good in Lexington. And I think as his kind of close circle started going, hey man, like it's kind of bad out there. Like, it's a war zone out there. You better open your windows because this is kind of ugly. And he finally opened up his windows and was like, ooh, I don't know if this is a relationship I'll be able to repair. I don't know. Like, I sell the dreams of recruiting classes and building rosters and all that. I don't know if, my messaging is just, they're not listening to my messaging anymore. Maybe it's time for me to find my own exit plan. And the first call beyond that, and I know USC was interested. There was some talk with Michigan, but the first school that kind of reached out and said, hey, we want you to make us our king. We want you to take our program over. And he has a big ego. He's a guy that wants to feel like the godfather of college basketball again. The offer that Arkansas made to him made him feel that way again. And when you have a big ego, you kind of like, get stroked a little bit and making you feel loved. And I think those two things went hand in hand. And that's why he ended up taking that offer, whether or not it was necessarily the right fit for him. I still think it's a weird fit for him, but I think he's going to do very well there. But yeah, I think it was more him just seeing the writing on the wall that could make for a really, really toxic situation if I were to try to, kiss and make up with Kentucky.
The fan base is one thing, and we've been hearing that from Kentucky fans for the last couple seasons now. Was that same sentiment shared with the administration and with the athletic director?
Yeah, and I think that was a part of it. They had complete support in John Calipari. They trusted his vision and said, you got us to highs after the Billy Gillispie era and some really, really poor lows before you got here. We trust your vision. If you have one that you think can make this make it work with this fan base, we trust you. And I think that was also a part of when he tried to kind of kiss and make up and maybe got cold feet a little bit, why UK administration was like, no, buddy, it's, we trusted you the first time around when you said you could make it work. And if you're going and flirting with other jobs and getting, agreeing to 5-year deals before even coming to, talk to me like a man, it's very clear that the train's too far down the track and there's just no repairing this relationship.
Wow.
There's a movie, and I'm trying to remember what the title of it is. Kirsten Dunst is in it. She's playing Marie Antoinette. And this kind of, Jack, you explaining this scenario with the fans, kind of the music stopping. I remember that there's this one scene where they're watching a play, and the play ends, and Marie Antoinette starts clapping. I guess clapping wasn't a huge thing back then, and then everybody else sees she's clapping, and they love her, so they start clapping. Well, a couple years goes by, and it gets worse out on these streets. She's at a play, the play ends, and she starts clapping, and nobody else starts clapping, and she's looking around, and everybody's just looking at her like,
I know what
crazy.
movie you're talking about. You'd be crazy to think what the name of it is.
What?
Marie Antoinette.
It's Marie Antoinette.
Is it Marie Antoinette? Okay.
That's what it is.
There you go. It's that simple. There's your history lesson for the day, Crane & Company.
Jack, I just want to know this. It's hard for me to sit here and believe, especially if I'm trying to hire somebody at the Kentucky head coach basketball position, that they didn't reach out to Nate Oates after what Alabama did in that Final Four run. So can you give me any leeway, to why Kentucky wouldn't reach out to a guy like Nate Oates?
Well, I think even Nate Oates' people kind of through back channel said, hey, I would be open to listening if that was something you would be interested in. Mitch Barnhart, unfortunately, fortunately, he's an unbelievable dude, great morals, and there is a lot to be said about that and what he values. And I think some of the off-court stuff really spooked him a little bit, and knowing that he has to absolutely nail this hire, and he also likes the PR. So the good side of John Calipari was he always knew how to handle tough situations, even when stuff with the law, stuff with, kind of things going on behind the scenes, academics, things. Cal always had the right thing to say, and that's never necessarily been Nate Oates' forte. And I think that kind of spooked him a little bit, where he's like, yes, I know he's the most exciting guy in college basketball, beyond Dan Hurley, but I just don't know if now is the right time. If it were maybe 2-3 years from now, and some of that stuff kind of farther down in the history, maybe, but right now just didn't make sense for us. And I think part of the reason that got back to Nate Oates, that he wasn't going to be in the top tier of guys, I think he knew that it wasn't going to extend too far beyond Scott Drew anyway. So I think he was kind of I'm taking my name out of the running before we, got to keep the momentum going at Alabama. So I think it was a good move on his part, and I understand on Mitch's part as well.
So the Brandon Miller stuff's why Nate's not going. All right, let's go to the Booster Club. Let's go to Cedar Creek Curmudgeon. He wants to know, Jack, if the Cats' first 3 choices fall through, would BBN welcome back Rick Pitino, and would Barnhart even go there?
Bum, bum, bum.
Big old fat no. I'll be honest. I love Rick. I think that he, again, for somebody in the business of traffic and clicks and that people driving interest in this brand, there ain't a better click wizard than Rick Pitino. Everything that he says turns to gold. So I would love him. He's a great, unbelievable, one of the best of all time, and just in terms of pure X's and O. And I think that's something that this fan base is hungry for. A guy that maybe we need to focus a little bit less on the PR and just get a guy who can coach basketball games and win you games in March. That at some point, that's all that matters. And you could argue that Rick Pitino might be the best in the business at that. And I just think that ship has sailed and gone a whole cruise. He's already rounded different continents, and it's just not going to make its way back to Lexington. And I would love it. I think if we were to get to kind of some of those secondary options, and I don't think it's going to, I think that, like a Bruce Pearl is somebody that would crawl over glass to get to Lexington. I think there are some other guys, Chris Beard, that have, I think, indirectly made it clear that they would be interested if that call was made. So I don't think we're going to get to that point, but you have options beyond just the Mark Popes of the world that I think some Kentucky fans are just terrified that Mitch Barnhart's going to go with the ultimate safe hire. Yeah,
Jack, but before we get you out of here, if you're a betting man, which I'm not sure if you are, but if you had to say right now the Jack Pilgrim, who I'm picking to be the next coach, is it going to be Scott Drew or is it going to be somebody else?
I think they are going to make Dan Hurley tell them no, give them an offer that, okay, UConn can't afford this, try to do the math on it and say, all right, while also understanding he kind of has NBA dreams. He's this hungry, I want to be the king of basketball, not just college basketball, but the entire basketball world. And maybe he would want to be the New York Knicks in 2, 3, 5 years, whatever that timeline looks like. So again, we talked about Mitch Barnhart being little safe. He likes having safety nets, and I think that might spook him a little bit just in terms of how short that runway would look like with Dan Hurley. But I think they're going to make him say no and then push all of their chips in on Scott Drew. And I think that's going to be how this all unfolds, where Scott Drew is the next head coach at Kentucky. Well, Jack, I agree with you 100%. We're pushing all our chips on you guys over at KSR at On3 for this search, man. Tell everybody where they can find you, social media, all that stuff. And thanks for getting up with us, man. This was fun. Yeah, absolutely. At Jack Pilgrim KSR on Twitter or X, and KSR YouTube channel. We've been pumping out podcasts and rapid reactions and all that stuff. And then KentuckySportsRadio.com. We're pushing out all the good content. So appreciate you guys having me. Definitely, man. Appreciate you, Jack. You and Matt and the whole crew do a great job. Thanks for coming on. Sure, we'll have you back on again, especially after Kentucky
nails down this hire. All right, but close calls. Nate Oates maybe, Dan Hurley we'll see. But when it comes to shaving, there is no close calls when it comes to the best shave out there, all right? It's been 2 years of fighting and building the future with great products, and we're only getting better because Jeremy's second-generation razors are here. And if you thought that robot playing badminton was cool, you have no idea how cool this is because it's the same mission, but new razors. What you'll notice, David, a redesigned ergonomic handle for superior durability and improved coated stainless steel blades. For those of you who craft your masculine look with precision, like we do here, we have Jeremy's new and improved Precision 5 razor. The precision trimmer allows you to tailor your shave. It provides an exceptionally smooth and close shave. And now if shaving is more of a chore to you, all right, and I get that, and you just want to get it done and over with, the brand new Sprint 3, it's got your name written all over it. Open blade geometry allows for quick, clean shave, so you can get back to your manly activities as quickly as humanly and manly possible. Razors made right, progress that isn't progressive. Head on over to jeremysrazors.com to upgrade to the second-generation razor today. David, describe it in one word.
Razor. Awesome.
Yes, you, Blanye. One word. Describe it. Smooth. Delicious.
As the man with the beard on the show,
Yes.
it's smooth.
So you wouldn't know because you don't use it.
I do use it,
Effective.
Dave.
Effective.
Ask Blaine's mustache if I use
Close.
it.
Yeah.
Would you ask him that?
Where's Blaine's mustache?
Where is Blaine's mustache?
He disappeared?
He's on vacay.
Does
No,
he
I've
need
seen
a-
him. I've seen him on social media.
Does he need a skyhook?
He's just down right
He's-
now.
look,
When's the
look.
stash coming back?
Look, once he stops having an attitude, that's when.
Oh, this is a
It's an
punishment.
attitude situation. Need to grow up.
Watch your mouth when you talk about
I
Blaine.
watch my face. when I talk
Maybe he
about
says
my
you don't
face.
win to. We're having some technical issues with the call-ins today. You know those daggum phones. Let's get over to the Booster Club. If you try to call in and weren't able to, sorry about that. But let's get to the Booster Club. We have another way to talk to you. Ha ha.
All right, it's going to be in a wild cat. Yeah, I hear wild cat. And he said, okay,
Wild
look,
cat.
guys, I know Jay Wright said no, but what can Kentucky do to offer him to get him home, please?
If you're Jay Wright, I feel like Jay Wright probably makes incredible decisions with his money. Like I wonder if Jay Wright's ever made a mistake. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, hell, his last name's Wright. Why? Why would you? The way you left Villanova.
Because you're a coach. You're a ball
you
coach.
are, but like he looks like
Everyone
I
has
can
a
tell
time,
when
Dad.
guys like are enjoying what they're doing. Jay Wright, I can just tell he's really good at it. Is enjoying what he's doing, and we say you do miss the coaching. And listen, I was in it for almost a decade, right? So I miss it sometimes, but with the time constraints, if you get out of that, the amount of time that he can spend with his family now compared to back then, and I mean, you know better than anybody, David. You have 3 kids now. Sometimes you get out of it, and yeah, you may miss. Like, look, I miss the games, I miss the interactions with the guys. But you know what I love to do? I love being able to go see my wife and hang out with her and go have date night and stuff like that. If I was coaching, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I think there is kind of a balance. And listen, Jay Wright's won natties. Like, he's got nothing to prove. I mean, he's probably looking at Villanova right now like, man, maybe it was me.
Yeah.
Deep down. So I don't see it.
All right, let's go to Bradley D. He says, why does any school do a lifetime contract? That seems like asking for trouble. Nick Saban is definitely the exception, but almost no coach will continue to perform at the top forever.
He didn't even have a lifetime contract. Nick Saban did.
No.
He just had a clause that
He had
said
the best
remains
clause.
the highest paid coach in the country.
Yeah, he had the best clause. And if they were smart, he'd have called, I didn't mean for these 2 words to be this close. If Nick Saban was really devious, he would have called Kirby Smart and say, I want you to have that clause in your contract too, because then we'll just go back and forth. It's like $1 trillion, 1.1 trillion.
Can't triple stamp a double.
You can't, like, only one person can have that clause.
Yeah.
Only one person. All right, so are the phones working now, Justine?
Yes.
Okay, the phones are working now. So 1-855-236-3228. If you called in earlier, call back and we will get to the line. All right.
DeAndre D. Young, what's up, dude? He says, would love to see Jeremy start making some clippers. Razor bumps are a killer, and it's killing my face.
That's, look, you want to talk about just adding to the arsenal. Look, I like having a quarterback that can run and throw. All right, I want a dual threat guy. So when it comes to trimmers and clippers, Listen, don't put anything past them. Don't put anything past them. And everything this man touches turns to gold. All right, so who knows? I mean, maybe reading an ad for Clippers next. I don't know. I'll mention to him when I see him.
Let's go to Reek Caskey with the $5 donation to Reek. Thank you. As a Duke fan living just outside of Lexington,
Oh, God.
I hope Mitch goes with the safe pick.
Mark Pope.
Watching BBN eat their own is glorious.
So you're a Duke fan that lives right outside of Lexington.
Enemy territory.
Is this
I love it. It's Owen
from
Wilson
behind
situation.
enemy lines?
It's
Yeah.
just so hard for me to believe that they didn't reach out to Nate Oates.
Well,
In my head, there's no way the Brandon Miller.
Are you saying reaching out or offering a job? Because I'm sure. Look, a lot of guys have the same agent.
Yeah, you get
like
the
a lot
feel before. Obviously, you're not going to just
Like,
immediately offer the job, but you're going to call him and be like, "Hey, how do you feel about this? If I said this,
Well,
would
what's
you do this?"
I mean, what does Jimmy Sexton do when he has two guys he's an agent for? He's like, "Hey, Jimmy. Oh, whoa, Jimmy. Wow, it's great.
Which
talking
one of
to
my
you."
guys do you want?
Yeah, like it's a lot of these guys have the same agent, but I do think what Jack is saying is that, and you have to got to be honest about this. Nate Oates is an incredible basketball coach, but the way he handles PR and the way that they've surrounded him with the people that tell him how to handle PR is bad. Like optically, it's bad. But at the end of the day, if you're winning,
it's not bad
care at
optically
all?
when you win basketball.
Yeah, like who cares what
And
you
he
say to
has
the press?
Ingredients, right? We're seeing the ingredients now and being successful. You're a weird high school math coach, like history. Dan Hurley, history teacher in high school.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Nate Oates, math teacher, not listening to the kids. He's not in there doing math. He's
No.
not teaching calculus. He's up there telling you how to run 5 out.
Man,
Right,
you know what's
that's the-
crazy? For Alabama, most of that team can come back next year, except for Estrada. They could come back.
Yeah, it's,
Wait, Mark Sears is like 30.
He
Like,
is, but I've been reliably informed that he has another year.
no. Mark Sears is going to play at Alabama forever. Just get used to it. Just get used to it. I'm interested to see what Grant Nelson does. I know Grant Nelson has another year. That one's going to be interesting.
All right, let's go to Mr. Mack. He says, "Is it just me, or does Scott Drew just feel like the safe hire?"
Well, to me, I think it depends on how you define safe. And I'm not trying to play semantics here. Do you mean safe as in the best chance to win? Because that's, to me, when I think of safe, I mean, I don't think of, oh, this guy's not going to say anything that's going to get me in trouble. I think the safest is the most likely to be able to go in there and do a good job at a place like Kentucky. If that's what you're saying, I think Scott Drew would be a great fit at Kentucky. I think Scott Drew is a hell of a basketball coach. I don't think he's a second-tier guy. Now, Mark Pope, if you're going to talk about the safe in the way I think you're talking about, where it's like, I'm going to come in here and, you know what I'm saying, like I'm going to just be singing and everybody's going to be happy and I don't know if we're going to win or not, but we're going to love each other. You know, we're going to be friends at the end of the day. That's making memories. I don't want that. As a fan of my team, I'd rather you have the biggest ass in the world as the head coach right here just destroying me. Dan Hurley was telling his son to slam the ball. Like, and Matt Painter didn't mind it. Like, I want a guy with a little bit of an edge to him. Which, by the way, do we think Dan Hurley, the way he coaches, would translate to the NBA? Like, I
don't know, man.
Because
what does
Like,
translate
you can't yell
to
at
the
those
NBA
guys.
now?
You can't yell at those guys.
the coach doesn't matter in the NBA.
Like, I don't know what translates unless you.
Have you ever heard like the mic'd up, like during timeouts, like the coaches in the NBA? Coaches of college like, all right, hey, here's what we got to do. We got to run this double back screen. We got to do this. We're going to switch from zone to man. NBA coaches like, hey, you guys thirsty? You guys, is anybody thirsty? Can I get anybody anything? He's like, you guys are doing so good. Or they'll be like, you're doing bad. And I'm disappointed. Figure it out.
Did you hear the Warriors shot over 60% from three last night? They were like 26 of 41 or something like that.
But they won.
Yeah, they did beat the Lakers.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Bama Bob. He said, if Alabama offered Dan Lanning, Kentucky definitely offered Nate Oates.
Touche.
All right, we got some people on the lines. If you
All
want.
right, let's do it.
Let's go to Jan in Lubbock, Texas. Jan, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. I haven't talked to you in a bit.
Yeah, what's up, Jan?
What's up, Jan?
Well, I kind of feel like you guys feel at the end of football season. I feel a little depressed with basketball going away.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to thank Jake. You kind of helped me get through the tournament in the sense that, you know, you play one game at a time.
Yep.
And I hate that Tech didn't move any further ahead. But, you know, I was so proud of them to get into the Sweet 16 because they had a heck of a year before. So
And Jan, if you're going to lose to a team that makes the Final Four.
NC State, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, I was so mad about that game, and I was going to make I can't think of the big guy, DJ, the bad
DJ
guy.
Burns,
and
yeah.
Then, of course, I turn around and fall in love with him, like everyone else did. But mainly, I'm interested in. Well, first of all, you'll laugh. My sister was like, where are you? I haven't seen you in weeks. I know.
Well, we missed you.
I've come up for air, and my main question is, I just love those giants who were playing, but I'm wondering, out of the tournament, which players do you think are going to make it to the NBA? We talked a lot about Zach. We were pulling for Purdue, but I think he is. I don't know if he's fast enough for the NBA.
Yeah,
but I'm just kind of curious what you guys think.
No, with obviously Edie's going to get a chance, Klingen's going to get a chance. I mean, a lot of those guys from UConn, even though some of the guys aren't the flashiest, I think they're going to be pretty good NBA players. We talked about Zach Edey being kind of a rim protector, maybe more of a Rudy Gobert, kind of a Walker Kessler. I wonder if he's going to work on trying to develop some sort of a jump shot or something. I mean, I think he's improved his body a lot. And David, you brought this up during the live stream, and he has seemed to develop his footwork wise. Like, he seems quicker, able to turn, a little bit more quick twitch. A couple guys, though, on the periphery that I think are going to be really good in the NBA, and I'm not just saying this because we've been talking about Kentucky. I think Rob Dillingham's about to be a problem in the NBA.
Yeah,
like an absolute
he's a
problem. Outside of that, I'm interested to see, with Filipowski at Duke, what he does, what he kind of turns into. RJ Davis at North Carolina, I think, is going to be a pretty intriguing guy as well when you see the way that the NBA's played. But is there any guys on the periphery that y'all can think of that?
I keep wondering what kind of NBA career Caleb Love's going to have.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen him
That's a
do it
good
at the
one.
biggest stage. Led North Carolina to that Final Four, that national championship a couple seasons ago, and then with Arizona this year. But we've talked about his shot selection a lot. Him and I'm interested to see Baycott as well.
Yeah,
What does
that's a good one.
do in the NBA?
Do you think Baycott's a little bit? I would take Baycott before Edey, I think.
I think I probably would too.
No.
God, probably Filipowski from Duke.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how he translates because, he's not a great outside shooter. He's a little bit more finesse, can move better than Zach Edey. Zach Edey right now is projected 22nd, where Walker Kessler went.
Yeah.
He's projected to the Pelicans.
Really?
Yeah, to the Pelicans.
Interesting.
Well, just two more things.
Go ahead.
One, I think that what thrilled me with Jack Edey more than anything was I thought his blocks were just, I loved it. I mean, it was just like,
monster.
Just stand there and block the ball, And also, this is going to sound heartless, but I don't really care. I might consider looking at Texas a little more often next year since that bad boy Brock Cunningham will not be playing anymore.
That's the guy that took out the Texas Tech guy.
Well, and then did you see what he did to the guy in Tennessee?
Yeah.
In the Tennessee game? They
Yeah, I
didn't
saw
call
it. Yeah, I saw it.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
And by the way, just one more thing. I had three more things. I thought the officiating was horrible through the tournament.
I agree with you. I thought it was really bad. I thought it was really inconsistent. Not that it's easy, but we talked about it throughout the whole tournament. I think they officiate every game differently. I feel like they officiated Purdue differently than they officiated a lot of teams in the tournament.
They did each half was different.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But Jan, thank you so much. We missed you.
Thank you, Jan. Talk to you soon.
And I'll take good care. And it was fun. And I'm just going to try to love baseball a little more this
There
time.
you go.
So
there you go.
to do. Okay.
Thank you, Jan.
Bye, boys.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, let's go to Jesse, the bearded gator, who we saw in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Jesse, what's up?
Hey guys, long time no see.
I know, right?
up, man?
You still, you wearing that Lady Baller jersey around right now or what?
Well, I'm working right now, so not right now. But
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
loving the
So
jersey,
definitely.
man.
Definitely, man. Well, thank y'all for coming out.
Dude. Oh no, thank y'all, man. My wife and kids, they've only seen the show a few times with me, but they freaking loved you guys. Y'all were awesome, super down to earth, really cool. Appreciate y'all coming out.
Definitely, man. Well, we had a blast, and shout out to Bree and everybody at YAP down there at Florida.
Yeah. So I called about a little over a year ago. I don't know if you guys remember me asking if I was crazy when it came to my rivals, and that I was willing to cut off 3 fingers to make sure that my 2 rivals, Florida State and Georgia, never won another game ever.
That's dedication.
Even if that meant that I never won another championship, but as long as I always beat them and they never won again.
God,
so I have another. Am I crazy?
Okay.
Am I crazy that certain teams annoy the crap out of me? I hate, like Florida State and Georgia, but their fan bases I have no problem with. Like they don't bother me at all. There's certain teams where I actually don't mind the team. Sometimes I even root for the team, but their fan bases just piss me off. They're so annoying. They just annoy the crap out of me. And it's just the fan bases. It's not the team. Like a Tennessee or a Texas, but I don't have any problem with the team. It's just the fan bases. And by the way, my fan base is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Annoyed more than anything with my own fan base and their impatience. But am I crazy? Like, is that a just me thing, or is that something pretty normal?
No, I think, and let me ask you this, because it may be this. Maybe the teams that you like, but you hate their fan bases, it's because their fan bases reminds you of the teams that you hate's fan bases. Do you think that could be it?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just the way that the way that they are, the way they carry themselves.
I think a lot of it just has
common trend is delusional.
I think a lot of this has to do with the interactions, right? Like, what other fans have you really mingled with to know? Because, like, to me, like, I don't like LSU. Like, when it comes to their team, I don't like them. Do I like their fans? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I love LSU fans, man. They even be on the opposite side of it. When it comes out, like, Georgia, I like Georgia. I love Kirby Smart. Their fan base, atrocious. Atrocious.
Blaine just pissed off LSU and Georgia fans.
It's like the Cowboys. I like the Cowboys team. I like the Cowboys team, example. But their fan base is the worst.
That's a great example.
The worst.
It's like the Yankees.
Yeah. That's a great
I get what you're saying.
No, Bearded, you're not nuts. And believe me, I know.
You are crazy. Cool. You are crazy, Jesse, but just in a different...
Yeah,
but not in that way. Doesn't mean you're wrong.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Probably right.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Hey, well, it was great to see you, man.
Tell the family hello,
all right?
Tell the family what's up.
All right, let's go to Nathan. Let's go to Nathan in Arkansas. Nathan, what's up?
Good morning, fellas.
Nate,
what's up, Nate?
Morning.
Oh, man. What a time Monday night. Had fun with you boys in the live stream.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Want some money?
I mean, I don't sports bet, so I hope you guys did.
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah.
We did. I just wonder if the guy who said, was it Cole Bayer was his name or something like that?
It's Cole.
It's Cole. The guy said he bet $48,000 on UConn money line.
It's just that's such a random number to make
that
up.
Is too specific
Who
to
makes
make
that up.
Either that
but
or
the one thing about it that concerns
liar.
me, he just said that, and then I never saw him.
Well,
he was dialed.
Would I have ever seen you again in the live stream? No.
No, well, we're
You'd
riding
be in jail.
I ride
with Morgan Wallen right now.
But I was cheering for Purdue on some of those shots.
And that's a favor, Dave.
Yeah, well,
you were doing him. You and Vicky D.
You and Vicky D combined.
He'll surface later this week.
Yeah,
with his new winnings.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I was calling in to talk to you guys about the Masters. You know, told me on Monday night to wait till Wednesday, so here I am talking about the Masters. I was just wondering if
who you liking?
Target.
Hey, did you see the Tiger Woods thing?
I did see the Tiger thing. I just think it's. I just don't know if he has it in him to make another run. I mean, you know, he's gone all his Masters tournaments without missing a cut. So I'm not a sports bettor. That could be an easy, I don't know what the line is on him making the cut, but that's an easy one. I mean, you got to look at world number one, Scotty Scheffler. I mean, he's been on a roll, 2 firsts and a second. Most recently, I mean, you can always look at, you got to look at John Rahm. I mean, I don't watch Live Tour, much, but you always got to look at him. Man, there's just so many.
Yeah.
Koepka, I just don't think he has it in him. Like, I mean, he was leading 3 days and then he almost let Phil Mickelson, someone who's twice his senior, come back and beat him out of the second place.
I saw a guy say that Rory McIlroy was going off at plus 1,000 odds. So if you put $100 on Rory McIlroy to win the Masters, you were going to lose $100.
Look, right now, if there's a guy I'm looking at when the odds, a little bang for your bucks, is Dustin Johnson.
Where's he at?
Plus 4,800.
Really?
Plus look, like
is he abstaining from
you can still hit the ball that far. You're still dating Wayne Gretzky's daughter, or married to Wayne Gretzky's daughter, and just Dustin, even when he's up, it never seems like it's getting to him. Man. I don't know if he cares enough for it to get to him.
Yeah.
You can get Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm at plus 325. So if either of them wins, you hit.
It's just not enough.
God, Rahm's just shaped like somebody who wins the Masters.
Is he the defending champ, right?
From Spy Kids?
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you. He looks like that thumb from Spy Kids. Tell me I'm wrong. If they ever make a Spanish version of Spy Kids, he could be the villain. Like, I'm dead ass serious.
Who do you like? Who do you like in the Masters? Who's going to win it?
Oh, man. I can't go. I got to go with world number one. He's just been on a roll. Give me Scotty Scheffler to
the chef.
That one video, we had a video on the show of him guessing the carry of the balls that he was hitting, and he was spot on everywhere.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. We showed that to Shapiro, too.
Insane.
Wild.
His putting has just been the difference maker recently, and, he's always going to be a great ball striker. It's his putting. If he shows up putting, he's going to win.
Man, it must be. I wonder what that's like. Just great ball striker, just knocking down putts.
Winning everything.
You couldn't tell me a damn thing.
Appreciate it, Nathan.
Nathan, thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yeah. All right, y'all have a good one, boys.
You too.
We got one more caller on the line, so let's get to him today. Jake in Florida. Jake, we got 30 seconds.
Yeah, J-Bones.
Skyhook.
The other day, I hope you had a great time in games.
Definitely, man. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, I'm calling about the Kentucky coaching search. I've got some heat, some sources, and I can narrow down the coaching search for some of these Kentucky fans.
Do it.
I love this.
This could go a lot of different ways.
So I know who your coach is not going to be, and that is Nathaniel Oates.
Okay. Yep.
I don't care what the On3 guy said. I've heard from multiple sources the same thing from multiple sources that Kentucky and Nate were in contact with each other. Kentucky definitely reached out to Nate. Now, whether it's the PR stuff, I'm not buying the PR stuff. Now, if you want to talk about buyout money, I can get that. His buyout, he just got a brand new deal with Byrne. His buyout's $18 million. I can believe that. Okay, maybe it was too much for Kentucky's pockets. I don't know. Mm-hmm. However, great news for our basketball program. Trajectory is only up from here. But one thing aside from this, how does Mark Sears not make the all-tournament team?
Yeah, I was shocked by that, dude.
I don't know.
That one. And listen, there are a lot of guys that I think you can make an argument that could be on there. But I just don't understand how you look at it and say Mark Sears was not an all-tournament, especially with what he did, down the stretch to get them to the Final Four. In clutch moments, where they were going. It's not like he's 7'4" out there just physically dominating. Hell, the dude looks more and more like Jalen Brunson to me. Now, I didn't think his drive was as effective down the stretch, being able to drive and finish, but he hit some massive threes, including one late against UConn that kept him in the game. But, Jake, I'm with you 100%, dude. I don't care who you root for. I don't know how Mark Sears was not on that all-tournament team.
How do you put 4 people? I know UConn's good, but, 4 guys from UConn on the all-tournament team?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's they
already won the championship.
Yeah. Why don't you just say UConn?
Yeah,
why don't you just put all 5? Why do you stop at 4? Just put all 5.
Who was the one player that made it that wasn't on UConn?
Had to be Edey, right?
Was it Zach Edey?
I think
which would mean Klingon. I guess.
Klingon. They had.
Well, so like all the other UConn players.
Your best player is not even on there for me.
Oh, man.
That's Jake, man. That's a great point. I agree with you 100%, man. And again, it was great to meet you, bro.
Yeah. Also, last thing, if you ever want to feel emasculated, stand next to David Cone.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, Jake. That's why I tell people they think I'm like 5'8". I'm like, no, I'm surrounded by giants.
Oh, I can vouch. Everybody, you, Blaine, and David, you guys are all 6 foot plus.
Yeah. Well, God, Jake, can you call in every day?
Next to you,
Let's just let Jake call in
Jake's
every
super
day.
jacked
That's
and
great.
tan. I was really jealous, but
No, Jake's not a little guy either. I mean, it wasn't. We were rolling deep.
No, Cone's a giant.
Yeah, I don't think people realize.
And we love him.
And the security we had with us were giants, and Cone was bigger than all of
right.
them.
Cone didn't make the all tournament team.
Yeah,
put me in, coach.
that's exactly right. But Jake, man, appreciate you, buddy.
See you, buddy.
We'll be down there again. We got to go to that place. What did he say? Moho Barbecue? What was that place he told us to go eat at? By the way,
What was that place? Magoo?
Huey Magoo's.
We got
Well, it was right by our hotel. That place has to be fire. If anybody's ever eaten at Huey Magoo's in the chat, please tell us, because you can't have a name that good and the chicken fingers not just be absolutely slapping the bass. All right. Oh, David, I forgot to write your bets up. That's on me. You sent them in. I saw them. Look, we got to get it back going this month. All right, we were up like 30 units last month. Let's get it back going.
Fine.
Hey, I'm not pointing.
Fine,
I'm not
I'll
saying
do
you're the
it.
problem,
Carrying
but
the
you're the
team.
problem.
I'll do it.
Tonight, I mean, betting wise now, buddies, my good friends, it's getting tight. But hey, we got NHL playoffs coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Friends.
Don't want to talk about it. Thank you for not letting Kirk in today.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm not accepting it.
God, the whole year the Flyers were just, they were close. All right, give me the Astros on the money line at -120. Then give me the Rangers on the run line at -1.5. That's going off at +105. David, scream at me.
Give me the Cleveland Indians -1.5 against the White Sox. That's -115. And then I'm going to go ahead and take the New York Yankees. They're 10-2 right now. Want a -1.5 against the Marlins. That's
Good.
-115.
We need that. We need that from you, Dave. We need.
Look, I'm trying to hit back.
What's Ace going with? You got aces? Or we'll just put
Oh,
those
he
up?
said he wanted the Red Sox money line -110.
Okay.
The audacity.
And the Braves money line -155 against the Mets.
The Red Sox. Poop. You're so bad.
Red Sox?
Jeff. Your face. All right, today we're getting back on it, fellas. Baseball. It's Nerfy time. Choo. Give me Mariners, Blue Jays, Nerfy. That's going off at a what, Dave?
What is it?
-128. Thank you for that answer.
Okay.
All right, give me White Sox, Indians, Nerfy. Dave?
-120.
122. You're right there.
Good.
You're right there.
I love that.
You can taste it.
I love
2-0 today. I
Thank
can
you for
feel
including
it.
me.
Which, well, now you're definitely not going 2-0 because you said that. All right, let's get to the chat. Donuts the poll.
All right, let's run through these donuts and we'll get to the poll. $5 donation from Steve's Trading Card Frenzy. Steve, the phone curse has returned. Blade versus Cone will have to wait until next week since my next day off is next.
Oh, you got the day off, Steve? Enjoy that day off. Why does GoFundMe hate me? I don't know.
All right, $5 donation from Charles Dossett. One of the largest weekends ever in combat sports, fellas. And not a word. Got to broaden the horizon.
Hey, we've got a Thursday and a Friday,
American
Charles.
Ninja Warrior this weekend?
Huh? They're going to fight at the Masters. You didn't hear?
No, I did not. Let's go to a $5 donation from our resident Phillies fan, Ryan Gade. Apparently, Angel Hernandez looked directly into the eclipse Monday. Reports say it has improved his ability to umpire.
Yes, it actually has.
All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Steve Miller. I love your band. I want to see an all-men's college basketball team on opening day take on Don Staley's South Carolina team.
Well, they do every day at practice, and
she still want guys in the league.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They get rings. It's genius, though. I would practice. If I was a women's coach, in any sport, we'd practice against guys. You talk about the game being easy.
So just quickly for him, for the UFC 300, which we're going to get to this week, but let's just go ahead and talk about some of the odds. Alex Pereira is going to take on Jamal Hill. Pereira's -135 in that one. We got Gaethje's fighting this weekend against Max Holloway. Gaethje's -170. Charles Oliveira's fighting. He's +185 right now. So a lot of good fights coming up.
I didn't know Jamel Hill was fighting this weekend. I wonder how she does.
Yeah, she's fighting common sense, and she's losing.
Let's go to
Sterling's fighting in the
Dude, these last couple cards have been insane.
Yeah, this one's like
Where's this one
UFC
at?
300. So
This Vegas? Is it in like Honolulu or something cool?
It'll be at T-Mobile in Paradise, Nevada. Yeah.
All right, let's go to a $10 donation from Michael Lesko, the Besco. Thank you for what you guys do. Can you elaborate on the NAIA versus the NCAA? Does the NAIA have any chance of overtalking the NCAA even at lower divisions? Thank y'all.
Yeah, first off, appreciate you. The NAIA, it's basically like non-scholarship. Okay, that's the best way I can put it. But they have no connection to the NCAA. They have no power compared to the NCAA, which NCAA is losing power by the second. But I think it sets a good precedent, right? That's what it's about. Like, they're the first one to get the ball rolling.
You talking about the NAIA?
Yes.
Yes. Now, one thing about that we didn't get to is if you are born female, you can still compete against males, which I wish they had just gone ahead and just, hey.
You want to know why they did that? Because that just doesn't exist.
But they handled the more pressing issue first. So
yeah.
All right, $2 donation from the Humping Badgers, Lynette Woodward, the new players hater ball host.
Oh,
hate. $2 donation from James Stalling, Auburn to Nike. It's about
really? Yes.
Congrats.
Auburn to Nike.
Wait,
thank you. Something good. Finally.
Were y'all Under Armour?
Yeah, it sucked. I hated it.
Did it?
Everybody hated
it was cool when it first started.
Yeah,
it was the click-clack commercials.
It's about as cool as Riri Rimmon.
As what?
Riri Rimmon?
Oh, Lululemon?
Yeah. You know why they named it.
I fact-checked that.
Is that true?
It is true.
The guy who came out with Lululemon came up with it, named it Lululemon because he wanted to hear Asian people say it.
He wanted it to sound more Western. He wanted it to sound more...
Rimmon.
Yeah, and...
that's a real thing.
I'm not making this up. You can go look it up.
I looked it up.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it.
You can go look it up.
And the company put out a statement that said, yeah, well, he hasn't been with us for a long time. He's removed from the day-to-day, and he doesn't share the company's values anymore.
Yeah, but we're still paying him. Like
it's still funny, though.
But he's still a billionaire because he started us. So.
Yeah.
I'm sure his life sucks. All right, last one of the day. $2 donation from Arik Caskey. Appreciate it, Arik. Will there be a draft special coming?
Ha ha!
Oh,
yes. You know, we ought to get a draft beer company to sponsor the draft live.
There's an idea.
See,
There's an idea.
I'm just turning into boy from.
Hey,
Billions.
quick shout out to our boy Richard at Veritone 1 for sending.
Oh yeah.
Signed Tom Glavine card here.
Chipper Jones High School.
Is that
card
from the Bowles Academy?
From the Bowles Academy. I didn't realize he only hit 270 as a junior in high school, but as a senior, 483. So
figured it out.
483.
I didn't get a cool card to hold up.
But Richard said he was going to send these cards to us. And he made good on his word.
He did.
We'll see that every day in 2024.
That was a great.
Appreciate it, Rich. All right, poll.
Will
the new Joker be good? Yes or no?
I'm going to say they said yes 57%. There's some haters in there.
I have no idea.
I just don't want it to be too much of a...
I have no idea. 50-50 even split.
All right, no. 69.
What?
Yes.
Really?
31%.
All right, appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the donos. Thanks for checking us out. Make sure you keep sharing the show. I got a great one for you tomorrow. Jack Pilgrim from KSR. Thanks for coming on, brother. Sure, we're going to have some more guys as this search continues, which it may not even go past today if we're going to be honest. But like the chances of Kentucky hiring Nate Oates, we're going.
Ooh.
Gone. I'm telling you, boys, when I don't hit the light,